connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Good evening, I'm Alma Angeles, and you're watching ASEAN in Focus on tonight's headlines. South China Sea heats up following China's aggressive use of water cannons against Filipino vessels. The Filipino has lodged a formal protest, raising concerns about escalating tensions in the disputed waters. Myanmar peace talks offer a glimmer of hope. News emerges of positive results from peace talks between Myanmar's military junta and ethnic minority groups. This glimmer of hope offers a potential path toward ending the long-running conflict. Rohingya refugees face uncertain future. Over 300 Rohingya refugees, primarily women and children, have arrived on Indonesian shores after weeks of perilous journey at sea. Their arrival underscores the desperate plight of this persecuted minority fleeing violence and seeking a new life. President Marcos pushes regional cooperation. President Marcos joins leaders from across Southeast Asia and Japan at the ASEAN-Japan Summit. This crucial gathering focuses on addressing regional security concerns, particularly the contested South China Sea, and fostering economic opportunities. Following China's Coast Guard's use of water cannons on Philippine vessels, resupplying the Scarborough and Ayungin or Second Thomas Shoals in the West Philippine Sea, the Department of Foreign Affairs has lodged a diplomatic protest against the country.
The Filipino people and the whole world know and has seen that the incidents of the past 2 days is a serious escalation on the part of the People's Republic of China.
The Department of Foreign Affairs has also lodged a protest to the maritime communication mechanism yesterday while the RORA mission was underway. The Chinese ambassador has also been summoned.
Chinese ships fired water cannons at 2 Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources or BFAR vessels on Saturday that were bringing supplies to Filipino fishermen near the Baho de Masinloc Shoal, according to the National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea. Subsequently, a civilian boat feeding Filipino troops stationed on Ayungin Shoal collided with a CCG vessel. During the meeting, DFA Undersecretary Teresa Lazaro presented the Chinese ambassador with a note verbal, which is the official protest from the department. Claiming to have lodged stern representations with Manila, China said on Monday that its Coast Guard's actions against Philippine vessels in the disputed South China Sea were professional and restrained.
According to domestic and international law, we have adopted necessary measures and our operation is professional and restrained. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has lodged solemn representation and protest to the Philippine side. I want to stress that Ren'ai is part of China's Nansha Qundao, and China has indisputable sovereignty over Nansha Qundao and its waters, including Ren'ai. This is established in history and is in line with the international law, including the UN Charter. According to the unlawful, null and void arbitration case in the South China Sea, the Philippines claimed that Ren'ai belongs to its exclusive economic zone and continental shelf and denied China's sovereignty over Ren'ai. It violates the international law and does not hold water. The incident, the responsibility completely lies in the Philippines.
According to the organizer, a flotilla of civilian boats that was scheduled to bring supplies to Filipino troops and fishermen in the disputed South China Sea called off the mission on Sunday because they felt as though they were surrounded by Chinese vessels.
There was this sense na parang surround na kami ng Chinese vessels. But I think the triggering point dun sa pagdesisyon ni Kapitan ay when the Chinese Coast Guard na dapat dadaanan lang kami, nag-change ng course na papunta diretso sa amin. So almost as if charting a collision course. And of course, you have a few minutes to decide if you're gonna turn it back. Kasi if you don't, baka magkabanggaan. Or worse, matuloy nga yung pag-water cannon at kung ano man. So we're hoping that what happened the past 2-3 days will show to the world and to the global platform na talagang matindi yung ginagawa ng China sa atin. Imagine, nandoon tayo para mag-Christmas mag-gift giving, and then ganun yung gagawin ng China sa sarili nating dagat.
Call on the Chinese government to stop these aggressive activities and refrain from intimidating and harassing our Filipino fisherfolk who are just lawfully and peacefully fishing in Bajo de Masinloc, knowing that it is part of our national territory.
In addition, the U.S. reiterated its support for the Philippines in a statement denouncing China's actions. U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said, "We stand with our Philippine allies in the face of these dangerous and unlawful actions." Mr. Miller underlined that all vessels of the Philippine Coast Guard operating in the South China Sea are covered by the U.S. Mutual Defense Treaty. He also emphasized the 2016 arbitral's decision that upheld Philippine fishing rights in the region and rejected China's broad claim. The Bureau of Immigration has issued a fresh alert against the trafficking of love scams in the wake of the return of 27 Filipinos who were saved from Cambodia. Aspiring foreign employees are advised by the BI to be cautious when accepting phony employment offers or fake offers, particularly those that guarantee great compensation in exchange for call center agent work in other Asian nations. 12 of the rescued Filipinos, according to Commissioner Norman Tansenko, entered Cambodia illegally after sailing from Zamboanga to Sabah, Malaysia. The other 14 left pretending to be tourists, keeping their real reason for traveling hidden. Tansenko stressed that the syndicate continued to operate in spite of multiple warnings from the authorities. The terrifying stories of the returning workers being coerced into love scams that prey on elderly men in the UK were revealed. They were mistreated, tortured, and in some cases, their Chinese employers even sold them to other businesses. Imagine being a professional and ending up being sold like a slave abroad, according to Tansenko. These are the realities people face when they fall for these scams. The Department of Migrant Workers and the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, are providing support to the rescued Filipinos. China expressed satisfaction with positive results from peace talks between Myanmar's military junta and ethnic minority armed groups. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning confirmed the talks and Beijing's ongoing support for the peace process.
We believe the situation in the northern Myanmar serves the interests of all parties in Myanmar. It is conducive to safeguard the stability in the border regions. China is glad to see the ceasefire, and we are ready to provide more facilitation.
The statement follows weeks of clashes in northern Myanmar's Shan state between the junta and an alliance of ethnic groups. The armed groups have seized military positions and a key trade town, posing a significant challenge to the junta's authority. Beijing remains a close ally and arms supplier to the junta, despite international criticism of its 2021 power grab. TikTok is returning to the Indonesian e-commerce market with a $1.5 billion investment in GoTo, the owner of popular online shopping platform Tokopedia. The deal allows TikTok to resume its online shop in Indonesia, which was previously shut down due to regulations. TikTok will purchase a controlling stake in Tokopedia and operate the shopping features within its app. The partnership is expected to launch in 2024, and Tokopedia will receive a $1 billion promissory note for future investment. This move strengthens TikTok's position in Indonesia, its second largest market globally. The pilot program will launch on Tuesday, coinciding with Indonesia's National Online Shopping Day. Over 300 Rohingya refugees, mostly women and children, arrive on Indonesian shores after weeks adrift at sea. Two boats carrying refugees landed in Aceh province on Sunday. Refugees were fleeing violence in Myanmar and seeking a new life.
It's almost 1 month, 50 days.
1 month, 50 days. And how many people from there come here?
There one counted 135.
Authorities are working to register and provide basic needs for the refugees. Local residents have expressed concerns about the influx of refugees. Indonesia is not a signatory to the UN Refugee Convention. Rohingya refugees face limited options for resettlement.
Saya memperoleh laporan mengenai pengungsi Rohingya yang semakin banyak yang masuk ke wilayah Indonesia, terutama Provinsi Aceh. Pemerintah Indonesia akan menindak tegas pelaku TPPO dan bantuan kemanusiaan sementara kepada pengungsi akan diberikan dengan mengutamakan kepentingan masyarakat lokal.
Israel pressed on with its bombing of Gaza on Tuesday after saying its campaign to destroy Hamas has left the Palestinian militant group on the verge of dissolution. Humanitarian leaders fear the besieged territory will soon be overwhelmed by disease and starvation and are piling diplomatic pressure on Israel to boost efforts to protect civilians. Strikes on Monday targeted Gaza's main southern city of Khan Yunis, now the epicenter of the fighting, as well as Rafah, a city on the border with Egypt, where tens of thousands of people are seeking shelter. Hamas is on the verge of dissolution. The IDF is taking over its last strongholds, according to Israel's defense minister, Yoav Gallant. Israeli army spokesman Daniel Hagari says operations are continuing around the clock to free the hostages held in Gaza.
האופן שבו אנחנו מבצעים את הפעולה הקרקעית, גם הלילה, חשוב שתדעו, הוא כזה שתכליתו לאתר ולהביא למאמצים על מנת להשיב חטופות וחטופים הביתה. אנחנו מבצעים מבצעים מסביב לשעון על מנת להגיע להישג הזה, וכך נמשיך לעשות.
Staff Sergeant Yuval Patiev, 20, who was hurt in the leg in the attack on October 7 and is receiving treatment at Ichilov Hospital in Tel Aviv, says now his best friends are in Gaza.
And on October 7th, I was just doing regular army work. And then we got a call, there is hundreds of Hamas terrorists storming towards the border. So we got into an armored vehicle and drove to there. And after 5 minutes, we got hit with like 5 RPGs. The vehicle very quickly disabled. So we got stuck and got surrounded by between like 50 to 60 terrorists. At that moment, they tried to break in. They tried to put like a mine bombs under the armored vehicle. When they put it, my leg got hurt. I got hurt with an open fracture and all my tibia bone completely shattered. Unfortunately, I had to bury 2 of my friends, best friends. And
Soldiers?
Yeah. And I know at least friends from home that I've been growing up with, at least 14 died. And
14?
Yeah. And all you can think of right now is about the civilians, the hostages that are still there. My friends at my age, 20 years old, fighting in Gaza just to bring peace back. And now my best friends are in Gaza, and that's tough because you are in the hospital and you just pray that you won't get a text that they got even wounded or killed.
After like 2 minutes of driving, something like that, a group of 4 terrorists ambushed us on the road. I saw them, I immediately turned the car around, and they immediately started shooting, just spraying without conscience, all 4 of them. I got hit 3 bullets in my arm, here, here, and here. If you want, I can show you after it without the band-aids. And my friend also got hit with 3 bullets. I was able to turn the car around while they were shooting. I was with my hand on the wheel, my right hand stopped moving, so I just switched to my left hand, and we just started running, not knowing where to go. It was like that for like 2 or 3 hours, where we just ran from side to side, hiding in the bushes, hiding in the trees. Every time you think you found somewhere safe to stay, You're there for like a few minutes, 20 minutes, 30-minute stops, and then you see or hear terrorists coming and you're running to the other side. I just held my hand and started sprinting in the woods, sprinting, hiding in the woods, sprinting, hiding in the woods for like 300, 400 meters until I reached the tank. There was an abandoned tank with like 3 soldiers, 2 policemen, and like 30, 40 civilians, something like that. We were hiding there for like an hour and a half, something like that, until the evacuation cars came and they rescued me.
The 11th batch of overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, from Israel arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal on Monday afternoon, just in time to celebrate the holidays with their families. Each OFW returnee received 50,000 pesos financial assistance from OWA, 20,000 pesos livelihood assistance from the DSWD, and 5,000 pesos and skills training vouchers from TESDA. The DOH also extended medical assistance to the OFW returnees. The repatriates will also receive comprehensive reintegration assistance and job facilitation services for other employment opportunities, whether here or in another country. To date, a total of 362 OFWs and 14 children from Israel and 61 from Lebanon have been repatriated by the Philippine government since the Palestinian militant group Hamas launched their attack in southern Israel on October 7. President Marcos joins regional leaders for the ASEAN-Japan summit to discuss crucial issues like the South China Sea and economic opportunities.
One of the objectives of this summit is exactly to announce the comeuppance of Japan as a comprehensive strategic partner of ASEAN, a thing that was already confirmed during the last summit of ASEAN in Jakarta. The opening session will start at 9:30, and then it will be followed by a session on the reviewing ASEAN-Japan relations, as well as international and regional developments. There is another event that is not exactly ASEAN, but is quite participated in by most of the countries of ASEAN and other countries. It's the Asia Zero Emissions Community, a separate regional organization composed of ASEAN, Japan, and Australia. Now, this is, as the name of the community indicates, dedicated to lowering the emission of carbon gases into the atmosphere towards supposedly a zero net effect at the end. But in general, because definitely they will be talking about international developments and regional developments, and among them are developments in the South China Sea and the East China Sea. But it will be discussed within the ASEAN context. We don't have details on that yet. It will depend on the developments during the negotiation of the statements, outcome statements. The thing about it is that Japan has always been supportive of the Philippines in these issues. And even in its interventions in ASEAN meetings, it has always been strongly supportive of the Philippines on West Philippine issues and even the arbitral award.
As my usual habit, I'd like to end the day on a positive note. Let's encourage and build each other up so that no one is left behind. And that's it for tonight's broadcast. I'm Alma Angela. Stay in the news because we live in extraordinary times. Good night.